Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's Friday, Friday the 6th of December, actually. So happy Friday, the 6th of December. It's Friday, it's 9 o'clock, it's time for another video. And today, I'm doing another of my exposure videos, and this time on heroes and villains from the imagination of Craig Petty. Now, if you don't know what one of my exposure videos is, for the last year and a half, would you say it's been last year and a half?
It's been about a year and a half, yeah.
Yeah, for the last year or so, I've been basically taking every new release that comes out and exposing it. I've been basically telling everyone exactly what you get with it, exactly how it works, you get the inner workings, you get absolutely everything. Why am I doing this? I hear you cry. Am I an idiot? I hear you cry. Well, I'm doing it very simply because I believe in every single product I bring out. I spend years working on everything that I do, and I spend a lot of time, which is why my tutorials are quite long sometimes, because I really think about everything that I do. And this is a perfect example, to be perfectly honest. I spent a lot of time working on this with Phil, and I really believe that I want people, if they buy my stuff, to do so with their eyes wide open. And so I'm more than happy to tell you how all of this works, and then you get to decide whether it's right for you. What I will say is I love the Heroes and Villains deck. I love it so much. Out of every deck that I've done, this is very near and dear to my heart. I've been wanting to do something like this for years, and it's only because of, you know, teaming up with Phil Smith that this has been made possible. See, I'm a big fan of anything to do with sci-fi and fantasy, always have been ever since a young age. And so the idea of a Heroes and Villains deck really kind of appealed to me right from day one. So let's talk about what the Heroes and Villains deck is, and then we'll talk about exactly what you get with it. So the Heroes and Villains deck is another one of the decks. This is Penguin. I love working with Penguin Magic, as you know. And this is another one of those decks that I've been bringing out over the last couple of years that aren't really decks of cards, but they have another purpose. So this started with Cube 52, which, and I really believe that when you bring something like this out, it has to have a thing. It can't just be another version of something that's come before. So the Cube 52 deck, very, very simply, was designed to be able to do matching effects and be able to kind of take cube magic to the next level by combining a deck of cards that have colors on it with a cube. And my goal was to get a lot of people into cubing, which I know I have done, which is great. Then after that, we had Evoke. Evoke was designed as a serious mentalism piece. It was designed for you know, people to be able to evoke emotions. It was a very serious mentalism type thing, and it was the first deck that was designed that marked information, marked full words on it. Me and Phil spent ages working on the marking system to be able to actually code full words. Then off the back of that, we did the Mind Blocks deck. Now that was designed originally for Ryland for his AGT Act, but Mind Blocks has been so well received. So many people have told me that is, you know, people like Nemid Phoenix and Thomas Maloney, who I consider very, very good magicians, they both said that they use it in their walk-around work all of the time, and I understand why. Mind Blocks is great. I love Mind Blocks. It's all based around Lego. It's great if you've got a family audience, but everyone can relate to Lego. Then off the back of that, I did the Infinity deck with Lloyd Barnes, which was a photo deck with the Quran principle built in. So every single one of them kind of has a thing. So how does Heroes and Villains come into it? Well, Heroes and Villains was me wanting to take a deck of cards and make it more relatable. You see, the thing with Evoke is it's not a deck of cards. It's really 26 cards. Mind Blocks is 26 cards, but it's got the Svengali deck principle built into it as well. I wanted a full deck of 52 cards that operates like a deck of cards, and that's what you get with the Heroes and Villains deck. It is the deck that I've brought out that is most like a pack of playing cards, and that's been done by design. So in essence, what it is it's designed to look like something you get out of a comic book store, and we'll talk about those in a minute. Let me put them back in here. This is the deck. I'm going to expose everything in a minute, but first of all, let me show you what it is. So it's designed by Phil Smith. So the most important thing is this looks just like the sort of thing that you pick up from a comic book store or a custom deck place or something like that. It's designed to look like a collectible card game that has facts about heroes and villains, but at the same time, you can play a game with it as well. You read the back, unleash the knowledge and challenge your friends in an epic showdown of heroes and villains. Dive into a world where powers collide and legends are born. With hundreds of mind-reading trivia facts, test your memory, mastery of comic book lore, cinematic adventures, and literary sagas. Will you rise as the ultimate hero, armed with facts and insights, or embrace the cunning ways of the villain? So it's designed to look like a deck of cards that you'd pick up from a comic book store, right? But let me show you what's inside, and then let me show you why we've done it the way we have. So first of all, I think a big shout out to Phil Smith. I think the backs of these look amazing. When you realise,
really good.
Yeah, they're really good, aren't they, Michael? When you realise what's actually in these, you're going to love them even more. But we went back and forth about whether to include 2 logos, 1 logo. There's so much. I love the red and the blue. I just think that's great. But I think that where Phil really hit it out the park are the faces of these. The artwork. You hadn't seen this before today, had you?
No.
Michael? And then you saw the, we'll put those to one side. You saw the faces of this for the first time and you were like, oh my God, the artwork on that.
It's really impressive.
The artwork looks amazing. It really does. Phil put each one of these together and he has done an amazing job. And the cards are designed. So there's 26 red cards and there's 26 blue cards. So the red cards are villains. And the blue cards are heroes. So this is very much like a deck of cards. We'll get into it in a minute. But this operates very much like a deck of cards because with a deck of cards, you have red cards, 26 red cards, 26 black cards. With the heroes and villains deck, you have 26 villains, which are red, and 26 heroes, which are blue. Okay. The next thing that's kind of really interesting is in a deck of cards, you have 26 perfect mates. Cards that are identical in every way. So, for example, an ace of spades and an ace of clubs, they're a perfect mate. They're both black. They're both aces. The 7 of diamonds and the 7 of clubs. The 7 of diamonds and the 7 of hearts. Both red cards, both 7s. We've done the same thing here. There's 26 perfect mates. Because there's 26 heroes and there's 26 villains. But the heroes and the villains are actually matched. So, for example, this villain here is Frankenstein's monster. The arch nemesis of Frankenstein's monster is Victor Frankenstein. So somewhere in here, we're going to have Victor Frankenstein. Let me show you. If we can find it. Oh, dear me, let's do it this way. There's going to be Victor Frankenstein. It would be easier, believe it or not, for me to look at the backs of the cards, which is hilarious. Victor, that's the other thing. These don't need to be in any particular order, which is perfect. This is not a stack thing or anything like that. Or there are a couple of cards, routines that involve stacks. So have a look at these. Coming on this, Michael, and you'll see. So we've got Victor Frankenstein, and then we've got, Victor Frankenstein here, who's the hero, and then you've got Frankenstein's monster, that's the villain. Now, originally, when we first created this, it was just like that. And then when I started working with this in the real world, I was saying to people, do you know who the arch nemesis is of Frankenstein's monster? And a lot of people would know, and some people wouldn't. And I'll talk about this in a minute, but there's some matching couples in this deck that are kind of ambiguous that you wouldn't know, and that was done by design. So then what we did is we added here who the nemesis is. So you can see on here, Frankenstein's monster's nemesis is Victor Frankenstein, and Victor Frankenstein nemesis is the monster. So immediately they know. If they pick a card, they know who the nemesis is, they know who the main character is. So there's 26 matching couples in this deck, which means this operates very much like a deck of cards. Any matching couple routines, and we'll get to that in a minute, you can do. Now, the other thing is how these cards are portrayed. So what you'll see here is there's a villain rating. Everyone has a hero rating and a villain rating from 1 to 5. And that's to do with the card game element of it. There's all the artwork here, and then there's 5 facts, 1 to 5. Now, I spent so long writing these cards. Each one was written by me. They are real facts taken about every single one of these characters. And it's awesome. Now, as you would expect with Phil Smith, these cards are marked. And they're marked using the optical marking system. Now, I'm going to show you what the optical marking system is in a minute. But before I do, I want to show you a routine, a simple mind reading routine that you could do with these cards. So I'm going to show you a very simple 3-phase routine that you can do, because the second that somebody cuts the deck, for example, the very second somebody cuts the deck, I can see that's Robin Hood immediately. Like, that's how quick. Just by going down and getting it, Alice in Wonderland, that quick, I can see who this is. And we'll talk about that in a second. But here's a quick routine that you can see that really kind of focuses on these marks and shows you just how powerful the system is in the real world. So, Michael, I have this deck of cards, and they're heroes and villains cards. I picked it up from a comic book store. Basically, designed to be used in a card game. They've got really interesting facts about heroes and villains. I picked it up because they look wonderful. First of all, you look at the backs of the cards. They're all really nice. But what's really cool is the fronts of the cards. There's 26 heroes, 26 villains. The villains are red. The heroes are blue. And they all have an arch nemesis, which is kind of interesting. Like, there's 26 sort of matching couples in there. But we're going to use this to do some mind reading, okay? Now, if you were here, you would actually shuffle the cards yourself. You're not here, so I'm going to have to do it for you. But you would shuffle. And then once you'd shuffled, the next thing that would happen is I would have you cut the cards and complete the cut any way you wanted to. Now, you're not here, so I'll do it like this. I'll just dribble through the cards. Just say stop.
Stop.
Well, there you go. Do you want to stop there? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm happy to stop there.
Okay. So I want to show you the. I'm going to look away, and I want to show you the.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's upside down, but.
Oh, hang on.
There you go. Yeah, I got it.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
You got it. I'm going to put it back, and we will cut it into the pack to make sure it's gone. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay. So concentrate. All I want you to do is concentrate. Concentrate on the character. Okay, that's really interesting, because as I'm trying to get your thoughts, and what's really interesting is you're thinking of multiple characters. Did you see more than one card? You didn't see more than one card. You only saw one card. I'm seeing multiple characters. Is this like a card that has multiple things on it? It is, isn't it? There's not multiple things, but it's not one character. It's more than one. It's three. There's three. There's three in there. Is that right?
Yeah.
Concentrate on whether it's a hero or a villain. Okay, that's interesting. It was a red card. It was a villain. But no, it was a hero. No, this is interesting. It was a blue card. It was a hero. But you've been questioning in your head whether this is actually a hero or not. In your head, you're kind of trying to thinking this is actually maybe a villain. Am I right? That's what you're thinking. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Concentrate. If you had to think of a word that summarised this, a time of the year maybe. What time of the year? Oh, Christmas. Okay. Okay. This is a classic character from Christmas. I've got it. Are you thinking of? Like the Three Ghosts of Christmas?
I am indeed.
Oh, amazing. They're definitely heroes.
Yeah.
They help Ebenezer Scrooge find his way. Look, I tell you what, we'll do it again. Maybe that was a fluke.
Have you seen the Muppets Christmas Carol?
Yeah, actually, good point.
Goes to Christmas Future, he's not.
Yeah. Not a nice guy, are they? Definitely. Say stop and tell me, Ollie.
Stop.
Oh, there you go. Are you sure you want to stop there? You can change your mind if you want to.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay. So again, I'll show you the card. Can you see it?
Yeah.
And also look at the nemesis at the bottom.
Yeah.
Got it? You done?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to get the nemesis, or do you want me to get the main character?
Go for the nemesis first.
Okay, the nemesis. Okay, think of the nemesis. Oh, this is interesting. You have no idea who this is.
No.
No, you didn't. You know the main character. You've heard of the main character. The main character on the card you'd heard of, but you'd never heard of the nemesis before. If I had actually told you to guess who the nemesis of this person was, you wouldn't have known in a million years who it was. Is that right?
Yeah.
In fact, this is a story that maybe you read as a child, but you haven't really kind of followed for a very, very long time. But it's a story that you're aware of back in the back of your head. Is that right? Yeah. So the nemesis. I just want you to say their name over and over again in your head, not out loud. If you say it out loud, that's not mind reading, that's listening. Say it over and over in your head, like Missy, 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 Missy. Ah, so the card was Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Missy is kind of the main kind of hero. Do you know Rumpelstiltskin, the
From
story?
Shrek the Third, yeah.
Okay, that's not the right version. So Rumpelstiltskin, it doesn't really matter, but the whole idea is there's this guy, and he pretends that his daughter can take straw and basically turn it into gold.
Yeah.
And the king finds out and locks the daughter in a room and says, you need to take all this straw and turn it into gold, and she can't. Her dad's a liar. And then this person, Rumpelstiltskin, comes along and says, well, I'll make it happen. I can use magic to make you turn the straw into gold so you don't get killed, but I have to have your firstborn child. And that's Missy. Missy is the character who there. Yeah. Interesting information. We'll do it one final time, Michael. One very final time. So I'll mix them up again. And the last time, just say stop it anytime you want to.
Stop.
Again. Are you sure? Right there? You can change your mind if you want to, no? You good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, have a look at that one.
Yep. Got it.
Okay, immediate recognition in your mind. Your mind. Immediately. This is a story that you're very, very aware of.
Yeah.
Very, very aware of. Okay, if you had to think of the main character on the card.
Yeah.
And if you had to think of a colour that you would associate with that character, get the colour in your head.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting. You're thinking green. Is that right?
Yeah.
You're thinking green. This is one of your favourite stories when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. I've got it. I think I've got it. Were you thinking of Peter Pan?
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, okay. So that is a simple mind reading bit, and you saw there that I basically, I basically had the equivalent of Michael cut the deck 3 times, and I immediately know Dorothy, for example. I immediately know who it is. Now, what's interesting, before I show you how the marking system works, what's interesting about this deck is the cards more relatable than playing cards. A lot of the time, when I'm doing this deck and I'm reading somebody's mind, I won't have them cut the deck. What I'll do is I'll say, take a card, or I'll do one or two things. I'll say, take a card, have a look at it, remember it, put it back. And what's really interesting is when I say take a card, I say, are you happy with that one and do you want to change your mind? And a lot of the time, people will go, oh, I want to change my mind. I don't like that character. You never get that. You never get that with a pack of cards. You never get somebody going, 7 of diamonds, I don't really like that one. I'll go for a different card. But here, somebody might pick, for example, Perseus and go, oh, I don't know who that is. I'll go for a different one. Which shows that people relate to these cards more because of that. The other thing that I'll do is I'll have them spread through and take any card they want. And they can go through and take one that they can relate to. And let's say they take this one, and I say, great, have a look at it, remember it, and then put it back on top of the deck. And by putting it back on top of the deck, and then having them cut it into the deck, immediately I know it was Tarzan. So how do I know that? Well, it's because of the marking system. So let's take this, for example. Shall we use this? Let's use, hang on a minute. Shall we use this one? Yeah. Okay, let's use this one. Okay, so have a look at this. Can you see this mark? I mean, this is the optical marking system. I don't know how well it's showing up, but the top line here immediately shows you who the person is. It's Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
It, as soon as you know, it pops. So that will tell you who the person is on the card. Now, the next line down, do you see that one there? It says Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
Yep, Queen of Hearts. That tells you it's the Queen of Hearts. And it's so easy to spot. So as soon as you know the system, you're not having to remember like syllables or something like that. Robin Hood. It's that quick. There you go, Robin Hood. Boom. As soon as they cut the deck, before they complete the deck, I can tell you exactly who it is. Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Boom. Now, and I'll also know the nemesis as well. Now, what's really interesting about this is when you're doing a simple mind reading thing. So the 52 cards that I put in there, I put some really iconic heroes and villains that everybody would know, right? And then I put others in there that are a bit ambiguous. Like, for example, Missy and Rumpelstiltskin. If you took Missy out, there's a good chance you wouldn't know who it is. Thulsa Doom is another example. Most people don't know Thulsa Doom, but they do know Conan the Barbarian. What's really cool about that is if I get them to pick a card at random, and I say, do me a favour, just pick a card, and pick a character and have a look at it, I will know fairly for sure by the card they've picked whether they'll know it before. So when I was doing the mind reading with Michael, I was like, this is a character you're not aware of, right? You don't, because I knew there was no chance he knew who Missy was, no chance at all. And it allows you to get more direct hits because of knowing that information. The other thing is, a lot of the people in here are based around, because you know who the character is, like when I said think of a colour and it's green, it's because Peter Pan's green. You can reveal a lot of stuff about that, which is really cool. And because because the cards are in red and blue, you can break it down. You can say, right, think about it as a hero or villain. Think of the color. If it's red, think of if it's a villain. Think of red. If it's a blue, think of hero. You know, so on and so forth. There's a lot of opportunities there for mind reading. Now, the other thing with the optical marking system is, let's use this one. Okay, so do you see? I'm going to use one that you should be able to see quite well. I mean, you should be able to see all of them quite well. I don't even know why I'm doing this. The bottom line down there. So we know that that's the top line. Can you see that? That's Van Helsing. Yeah. And that's Count Dracula. Okay. Yeah. The bottom line here, that tells you the Moab word. Do you see that there? Adaption. Yeah. Yeah, you see that? Yeah. That tells you the Moab word. Now, I've been quite clever, even though I do say so myself, with the Moab word. Let me explain why. There's lots of long words on this card. So if you don't know what the mother of all book tests is, the idea of the mother of all book tests is there's one long word in a text and the rest of the words are 6 or less letters. So you immediately, if you tell them to think of a long word, you immediately know the word they're thinking of, right? Because it's the only long word. Now, there's lots of long words on this card. So how are we using the mother of all book tests? Well, I tied it in to one of the facts based on the hero and the villain rating. So I have them pick the card and I say, is there a hero or a villain rating? There should be. And they go, yeah. And you say, is there 5 facts? And they go, yeah. And you go, I tell you what, whatever the hero or the villain rating is, look up that fact on the card. And then read that fact and pick a word. If there's a nice long word, think of that one. So what they would do here, I don't know if you can see this, Michael, they would say, right, it's hero rating 4, they'll go to 4, and the 4, it says, there have been many TV and film adaptations which has been seen. You know what I mean? So immediately, you know the word they're thinking of, which is adaptation. Because, but if they look through the card, they're going to see lots of other long words. And unlike the normal mother of all book tests, where you have to somehow get the first letter, you don't have to do that with this, because all you have to do is have them cut the pack. And then when they cut the pack, I can see here, there you go, incarcerated. So I can immediately see that with El Capone, it's going to be incarcerated. So if I look at 3, here we go. His 7-year reign as a crime boss came to an end when he was incarcerated at the age of 33. Incarcerated. So it's got the mother of all book test built into it. So if you just wanted to use this as a mind-reading device, you can. But there's so much more it's capable of. So I gave you 4 cards extra. So you've got the 52 cards. These 4 cards are extra. These are scorecards that have got predictions written on them. And the reason is, when I first developed this deck, I wanted to be able to do Shuffleboard. Shuffleboard is one of my favourite tricks of all time. The problem with Shuffleboard, well, there's no problem with it, but the thing with Shuffleboard is it's just using playing cards. And I knew that people would be able to relate to heroes and villains better than they would playing cards. So I wanted to do Shuffleboard with this deck, and because I love it so much, I included the 4 scorecards with the predictions already written out on them. So if you haven't seen Shuffleboard before, let's have a look at a performance of Simon Aronson's Shuffleboard so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, and you can see how this would play out using these cards that you actually get with the 4 scorecards. I'll tell you, I've written on those. We'll put those to one side. We'll get back to those in a minute, but let me show you these. So first of all, it looks like a deck of cards in the back. But from the front, you can see it's kind of a little bit different, because you basically have 26 hero cards and you have 26 villain cards. And they're iconic heroes and villains. You know, a lot of them you'll probably recognise. The heroes are in blue, the villains are in red. And there's facts about each one, but each one's got a hero rating and a villain rating. What's interesting is the 26 heroes and the 26 villains are linked. So, for example, if you look at Elliot Ness, you can see he is a hero. His nemesis is El Capone, who's a villain. So somewhere in here, there's going to be El Capone. Likewise, Thulsa Doom. Do you know who Thulsa Doom is? No. He is actually a villain, and he's the arch nemesis of Conan the Barbarian. A lot of people don't realise that, but Thulsa Doom, Conan the Barbarian. There you go. Initially, Thulsa Doom was created as an antagonist with the character Kroll of Atlantis, and later became the arch nemesis of Conan the Barbarian. See, this is entertainment and education. It's we span the whole thing here. But we're going to do something. We're going to do something. If you were here, you would do it, but you're not here. So I'm going to do it. Well, you are here, but you're behind the camera. So we're going to give these cards a shuffle. I would normally have 2 people to do this, but I haven't got 2 people here. So I'll shuffle these until you say stop.
Stop.
You happy?
Yeah.
And I'll do the same here. I'll shuffle these until you say stop.
Stop.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I would then do is I would have you cut some cards over here, and I'd have you cut some. I'd have the other person cut some cards over here. But as it's just you and me, I'll cut. But it's really important that you understand that you could have cut any way you wanted to. You could have cut shallow. You could have cut deep. It would have been up to you. Now, Michael, very important question. We're going to turn one of these packets over. We'll call this one packet 1. We'll call this one packet 2. Which one do you want to turn over? 1 or 2?
Packet 2.
Because you see, the important thing is all the decisions are currently being made by you. You shuffled until you said stop. You cut any way you wanted to. You decided which packet to turn over. Same here. Which one do you want to turn over? 1 or 2?
I'll do 2 as well.
2 as well. Now, to be clear, what's going to happen is I'm going to shuffle the face-up packet in this pile, in this side, into the face-up packet in this side.
Okay.
And then vice versa. So before we carry on, like I said, all the choices are yours. Are you still happy with these packets that are turned face up?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll take these two. We'll switch those around like that. We'll take these two, and we'll shuffle these two together. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. There we go. And we'll take these two and we'll shuffle them together. But normally this will be you that will be doing this. We'll shuffle them together. Just like that. Now we're going to turn one of these piles over completely and shuffle them together. So we'll randomize it even more. Which pile do you want to turn over? 1 or 2?
1.
So you want to turn this pile over and you want to shuffle these together. Is that right?
Yeah.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Excellent. Should we give them another shuffle?
Go for it.
Go for it. Why not? You're only saying yes because I'm doing the shuffling. If you were here, there would be massively less shuffling going on in this routine, I think. But whatever. So, as you can see, we have mixed these up. We have face up, we have face down, we have face down, we have face up. And you made all of the choices and all of the decisions, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. And do you remember I put these 4 scorecards over here from the very beginning?
Yeah.
And I said I wrote predictions on each one of them. Each one has got a different prediction. This one here is prediction number 1. Can you see that? Prediction number 1. And it says 22 of the cards will be face down. That would be impossible to know. Because you cut any way you wanted to, you decided which packets to flip over, you made all the choices, you shuffled as much as you want to, but it says 22 of the cards will be face down. Let's see if they are. You would do this, but you're not here. You are. You can't go. I'll do it. I'll deal them into 2 piles. Let's count the face down piles. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Shock and horror. My gosh. But that's not all. That's not it. There was a second prediction over here. Look. Second prediction. Prediction number 2. 13 of the cards will be heroes. That's even more impossible because you shuffled as much as you wanted to. We did everything. Apparently 13 of the cards will be heroes. Let's have a look. We'll deal them into 2 piles. We'll count the heroes. The heroes are blue, remember. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards. This is incredible. Well, we've got a third prediction. Let's have a look at this one. What does this one say? Prediction number 3. All the villains will be, all of the villains will be male. Okay, all of the villains will be male. I'll put the villains over here. Let me go and grab them again. There were how many villains? 13 and it will be heroes. So all the heroes there. So let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. There were 9 because we had 22. So 13 plus 9 is 22. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So 13 of the villains will be male. Let's count. Let's have a look. Look, Sheriff of Nottingham, definitely male. William Cecil Clayton, definitely male. Al Capone, definitely male. Mordred, 100% male. Captain Juan Ramon, male. James Moriarty, male. Captain Hook, male. The Evil Queen, doesn't matter. Count Dracula, male. All of them male. except for the evil queen. There's a technical term for that. It's called a cock-up. I still think it was very good. Obviously, we kind of failed in the last bit. I do have one final prediction, though. And the final prediction says, except the evil queen. Look at that. So that's Shuffleboard. So the cool thing about this is that you can bring these cards out, you can have them shuffled, you can have them mixed up, and you can go into any routine. There's not really a stack, you know, like Evoke has a stack and Infinity Deck has a stack. There's no stack. You can put these into stacks if you want to. So I talked about Shuffleboard being something that I really wanted to do with this. The other thing that I really wanted to do with this is I wanted to be able to do matching couple style routines. And on the project, there are several matching couple routines. I should point out that as well as the cards, you also get a couple of envelopes with these as well. And each one of these envelopes has got like blank cards and so on and so forth. And that's for some of the other routines. And these envelopes are great, especially if you're wanting to do packet tricks and so on and so forth. These envelopes are cool, so that gets you get those with it as well. But I wanted to be able to do matching couples routines. One of my favourite style of routines in Magic is magic couples, and I do I teach like 3 or 4, I think, different versions of matching couple routines on the project. And I teach versions that don't require setup, versions that do require a setup. If you've never seen a matching couple routine before, I'm going to show you one now. And this matching couple routine is great. And it's a perfect example of how you can take a standard classic sort of card trick and make it way bigger than the sum of its parts by using this deck. Because by pointing out that this deck of cards has 26 pairs in it, it becomes really impossible. Let's have a look at that performance right now. So this, Michael, is a deck, it's called Heroes and Villains. It's basically a card game, and I picked it up from a shop the other day. And what's really interesting about this is the way that the cards are set up. So obviously from this side, they're all normal, but they're not playing cards. Instead, what they are is they're a collection of 52 characters from cinematic and literature history. And what's interesting is there's exactly 26 villains and 26 heroes. The heroes are in blue, the villains are in red, as you can see. 26 heroes, 26 villains. But what I found really interesting is that the 26 heroes and 26 villains match. So, for example, we have here James Moriarty, and you can see down the bottom that his kind of arch nemesis is Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. Which means somewhere in this deck there's going to be a hero that's Sherlock Holmes, and it'll say that his arch nemesis is James Moriarty. Here's another example. This is Dorothy Gale. Do you know Dorothy Gale?
Yeah.
From Alice, not Alice in Wonderland, sorry. I'm off to see the Wizard.
Wizard of the Heart.
Yeah, the Wizard of Oz. And the Wicked Witch is obviously her nemesis. And so on and so forth. We're going to try and do something. Okay, we're going to try and do something. And we're going to do something very, very cool. Are you ready for this? It starts with us pick. I'm going to go through the cards like this. I want to say stop in time.
Stop.
I'll do that again. Sorry. In time.
Stop.
Are you sure you want to stop there? You can carry on if you want to, or if you're happy, that's good.
I'm happy with that.
Cool. So we've got 2 halves that you've picked. One of the halves is going to go in the box. Which one would you like to have go in the box?
The one with the witch on top.
This one here?
Yeah.
We'll just give them a bit of a mix-up first. If you were here, you would help me with this, but you're not here. So I'll do it like this. Is that fair?
Yep.
Mixed up, completely and totally mixed up just like that. Okay? So those go in the box as requested by you. We'll put those over there. We'll put them here. We'll get back to them in a little bit. So you've left me with about half the pack. We're going to try and do something with this half of the cards. Okay? I'm going to have you just pick one. So just say stop.
Stop.
This is not a card trick. I'm not having you pick a card so I find it. We've got Mowgli, okay? And his nemesis is Shere Khan. I'm sure you've seen the Jungle Book, you would know this. Here's what's really interesting. Look what I can do. If I just concentrate right about there, I can put Mowgli right inside here. And I can put him in this point. And the reason I put him in this point is because I put him right next to that card. And the card that I put him right next to is Shere Khan. I was able to find the exact match. Now, that could have been a fluke. I'll tell you right now, it wasn't a fluke, but it could have been. We'll do it again. Say stop.
Stop.
Okay, go here. And let's have a look at the Santa Claus. Well, Santa Claus' arch nemesis is Jack Frost. Don't know if you know that. Yeah, probably heard of that. So all I have to do is think Jack Frost, I'm thinking around about there. I just put Santa in just the right place, and it's almost like magic that I can get the arch nemesis every single time. We're going to see if you can do this, all right? So I'll just cut randomly to a card. Doesn't really matter what the card is. We'll go for this one here. The Three Ghosts of Christmas. That would be Scrooge. I tell you, just say stop.
Stop.
There.
Yeah.
Right here, yeah?
Yeah.
If you were here, you'd do it yourself, but you're not, so I'll do it for you. We're going to put it in there. You decided to put it there, is that correct?
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting. You put it right here next to Ebenezer Scrooge. Look at that. You're as good as me. It's amazing. Now, I'll tell you what. Let's see if we can do it again, but we'll see if we can take it one step further. We'll just cut at random, and we've got Sherlock Holmes here. Now, Sherlock Holmes is arch nemesis Moriarty. And we've got Long John Silver. So we've got Moriarty, we've got Sherlock Holmes. So, okay, I would hazard a guess that James Moriarty would not be able to be stopped by Long John Silver. It's probably not going to happen, or Jim Hawkins. But here's what I can do. Look, if I take Jim Hawkins and I take James Moriarty and I just give it a little rub like this, I can turn him into Santa Claus. How weird is that? Like, I could keep doing this forever. Look, I tell you what, let's see if you can do this. So I'll tell you what, you just say stop anytime you want to.
Stop.
Right there, are you sure?
Yeah.
You're positive. Okay, so we'll put this one here. So we've got Victor Frankenstein. Now, the nemesis of Victor Frankenstein is the monster, right? So I'll tell you what, we'll have another one. Just say stop.
Stop.
Right there. So who do we have here? It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Let's have a look. We've got Peter Pan. Well, Peter Pan is not the monster by any stretch of the imagination. But if you were here, Michael, I would give you Peter Pan. I would have you wave Peter Pan over Victor Frankenstein, and as you do, he would change into Frankenstein's monster. Now, I could keep doing this forever. Honestly, I really could, because, and the point is, all of these are mixed up. So we've got, I don't know, we've got Peter Pan, we've got Captain Hook, and we've got Goliath. We've got who we've got here? We've got they're all. I mean, they're all mixed up, as you can see. You know, all the way through, they're all mixed up. Who do we have here? We have Perseus and William Cecil Clayton. We have, let's have a look here. Who do we have here? We have the Big Bad Wolf and Hercules. A hero and a villain, but I think Hercules would kill the Big Bad Wolf in like 3 seconds flat, right? Who do we have here? We have Thulsa Doom, and we have King Kong. That's a match I'd like to see. King Kong versus the arch nemesis of Conan the Barbarian. That would be interesting. Now, if you were here, I would give you these cards and I'd have you hold them in between your hands. And you would hold them in between your hands, and I would literally just snap my fingers. And as I did, what would happen is all of these cards would sort themselves out. Look at this. We've got Jim Hawkins, and we've got Long John Silver. We've got Peter Pan, and now next to Peter Pan, we've got Captain Hook. We've got Goliath and David, obviously. We've got Medusa, and we've got Perseus. We've got William Cecil Clayton and Tarzan. Every single one of these cards, all the way through, has now sorted themselves out right down to Carl Denham and King Kong, which is amazing. But we did put these cards in the box in the beginning. You mixed them up, we shuffled them, and yet hopefully now, if we really have made magic happen, look at this. We've got Missy and Rumpelstiltskin. We have Snow White and the Evil Queen. We have the Sheriff of Nottingham. Who's the Sheriff of Nottingham's arch nemesis? It is, of course, Robin Hood. We got Robin Hood. We've got Mordred, and that's King Arthur. We've got Audrey 2 and Seymour. Every single one of these cards, all the way through the entire pack, have found their perfect mate. So that is great. That is absolutely fantastic, and I do that routine all of the time. But you can also use this deck for any routines that you might use with Stay Stack. On the project, there's a real big discussion about Stay Stack. Both Stay Stack in terms of a full deck of cards, but also Stay Stack in terms of a small packet of cards. If you don't use Stay Stack, it's one of the most versatile card stacks in the world, and it's based on couples. It's kind of an extension of the mirror stack. And I explore how Stay Stack can be used in this deck. in quite a few different ways. But you can use it with a packet trick as well. So you don't, when I said that this deck's very versatile, you don't actually have to use the full deck. You could do it as a packet trick if you wanted to. For example, if you know the classic Will the Jacks match, which is based on Stay Stack, Will the Jacks match is an amazing trick. And you can do it with this and call it Will the Heroes match. And this gets crazy good reactions. So I'm going to show you an example of how you can take something like a packet trick or a Stay Stack style routine, and you can use it with this deck. And again, it's way more relatable. So I've got 10 cards here, and I took them from a deck of cards called the Heroes and Villains deck. And basically, they're not playing cards. Each one has a different character from cinematic or literature history. Now, the heroes are in blue and the villains are in red. And what's interesting in this is I've got 5 matching pairs. So as you can see, I've got Billy the Kid, and I've got Pat Garrett, whose arch nemesis Billy the Kid, and I've actually got Billy the Kid there, as you can see.
Yeah.
I've got Alice in Wonderland, whose arch nemesis is Queen of Hearts, and you've got the Queen of Hearts there. I've got Count Dracula, who's I've got Van Helsing, whose nemesis is Count Dracula, and we've got Count Dracula here, as you can see.
Yep.
We've got Zorro, and his arch nemesis is over there, which is Captain Juan Ramon. And then finally, you've got Dorothy Dale, whose arch nemesis is the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
We're going to see if we can match these pairs up by magic. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to get you to do everything, though. It's really important that you realise that you make all of the choices in this. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll pop 5 of them over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to put the heroes over there. The villains are over there. And I'm going to have you spell out the words, will the heroes match? So we're going to use 4 words, will the heroes match? Now we're going to spell out each individual word. For every letter that we spell, you're going to tell me hero or villain. Whichever one you say, I'll take the top card and put it to the bottom. When we get to the end of each word, whichever the 2 cards are on top, we'll put them together to one side. So you are in control of everything. The decisions that you make will basically decide on which cards are being paired up with which.
Yeah.
So the first word is will. The first letter of will is W. So just say hero or villain.
Hero.
Hero, so that would be that one there. So W, then I.
Villain.
Villain. And then L.
Villain.
Okay, and then finally L.
Hero.
Hero. So that would be will. And then we take whatever the top 2 cards are and we put them together to one side. But if you made different decisions, these would have been completely different. Now that's will. Now the next word is duh. So let's go with duh. So T.
I go hero.
T, lovely. H.
Hero.
And E.
Just to spice it up, hero.
Interesting strategy there, Michael. And whatever the top 2 cards are, we'll put them together to one side. But if you'd have chosen this pile instead, it would have been completely different. But we've got will there. Now heroes. Let's do, we'll say, will the heroes match. So, H.
Villain.
E.
Villain. I'm not going to do that again. Hero.
Hero. O.
Hero.
Yeah?
Yeah.
S.
Villain.
Villain. That one there. You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah? Positive?
Yeah.
Okay. Put those together. And then finally, match. M.
Villain.
A.
Hero.
T.
Villain.
C.
Villain.
H.
Hero.
Like that. All the heroes match. And the last 2, well, they have to kind of go together there. You agree that you made all the choices.
Yeah.
And you agree that if you'd have made different choices, we would have ended up with different pairs.
Yeah.
But these are the choices that you made. Let's see how you did at sorting out good and evil and finding those matching couples. Well, we've got the Wicked Witch of the West here. Dorothy is the arch nemesis. And we have here Dorothy Gale. Hey, look at that. We have Captain Juan Ramon. That's Zorro. And over here we have Zorro.
Hey.
You're amazing, Michael. Over here we have Billy the Kid. And that would be Pat Garrett. And over here, oh, there we go, turn it this way. We have Pat Garrett. Over here we have the Queen of Hearts. That would be Alice. And over here we have Alice. And finally we have Count Dracula. And that would, of course, be Van Helsing. So you don't have to set the deck up if you don't want to. Absolutely not. If you don't want to set the deck up, that's absolutely fine. A lot of the routines that I go into don't involve having the deck set up at all. And there's tons. I go through, you know, variations of card changes and color changes. You know, one of the strongest things that I do with this is I have somebody pick a card, I control it to the top, and I do a, I say, hey, we're going to take a different card. I just do a double lift. You know, and I just give it to them and it changes in their hand. Stuff like that, stuff that you would do with a normal deck, becomes even stronger with this. An ambitious card with this deck is great, and you don't even need to have the card signed. That's what's really cool about it, because you can say to them, take any card out that you want, one that you can relate to. That one there, Hades, okay, we'll use Hades. And you can go into it like that. Another trick that I love doing is oil and water. Now, oil and water, honestly, is a trick that's kind of got a love-hate relationship in the Magic community. Some people love oil and water, some people hate it, but typically it's got the same presentation over and over again. Hey, did you know that oil and water doesn't mix? Do you remember your science lesson when oil and water doesn't mix? With this deck, you can actually tie into the good versus evil theme. And you can talk about heroes and villains not hanging out, and good characters not wanting to hang out with evil characters. In fact, I'll show you a performance of this. Let's have a look at me performing an oil and water with a full deck separation at the end from a deck that's been shuffled by the spectator. This is a kind of an adaptation of my oil and water extreme, and I'm going to teach this on the project. So on the project, you're going to learn exactly how this is done. This is one of my favorite things to use the hero and villains deck for, and it gets crazy good. There's 26 hero cards in this deck, and there's 26 villain cards in this deck. And I'm going to mix these cards up. I'm going to give them a really good shuffle, so there is no ambiguity. I want you to see, watch, give them a really good shuffle. Give them a, and if you were here, Michael, I would let you shuffle the cards. You're behind the camera, so I'm going to shuffle them instead. But I want you to see that those cards really have been mixed up. Is that fair? Now, I'm only going to take out a few of these cards. I'm going to take out... let me see. We're going to take out 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to take out 4 here, and I'll take out 1, no, 2, 3. Yeah, let's go for a good one. Oh, time of the year is perfect for that. 4. So a shuffle pack of cards, but we're only going to take out 8 cards.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the 8 cards that we're taking out, Michael, let me show them to you. There's 4 heroes and there's 4 villains. Okay. So, the heroes I've selected is Santa Claus, definitely a hero. Pat Garrett, you know who Pat Garrett is? Do you know your American history?
No.
He's the guy that captured Billy the Kid.
Oh.
Yeah, Billy the Kid, Pat Garrett.
Yeah.
There you go. Sherlock Holmes, must have heard
Yeah.
of Sherlock Holmes. And then finally, Hercules.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we've got 4 villains. We've got Count Dracula, probably the most iconic villain of all time. We have the big bad wolf, the bane of Little Red Riding Hood's life, definitely. Captain Hook, you know, he made Peter Pan's life a little bit of a misery. And finally, I thought this time of the year, take out Ebenezer Scrooge. Even though he became a hero at the end of the story, still a villain for the majority of it. Anyway, doesn't really matter. We only can use these 8 cards. Good versus evil. 4 heroes, 4 villains. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if you realise this. Heroes and villains never mix. They just don't, Michael. You have a big party. You invite 26 heroes. You invite 26 villains. They are not going to get on. They're not going to be sitting at the corner drinking and nibbling and chatting about what they've got up to. Heroes do not like villains. Villains aren't too particularly keen on heroes. Let me show you what I mean. If I mix these cards up, I'll put a hero and a villain, a hero and a villain, hero and a villain, hero and a villain. If I mix them up like this, they're mixed up now. They're like this: hero, villain, hero, villain, hero, villain. Now, the cards don't like to be in that sort of scenario. So I wait a second, literally a second, and when I do, look at what happens. They separate. They don't like being together. It is horrifying thinking of those heroes and those villains being together. Let me do that again. Look, I'm going to go really, really, really slowly. I'm going to take the villains and put them over there. Villain, 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 villain. We're going to put them there. Heroes stay here. Now watch, I'm going to go really, really slowly. So we start off, we'll put a villain down, and then we'll put a hero on top. Then we'll put a villain down, and we'll put a hero on top. Then we'll put a villain down, and we'll put a hero on top. And finally, we'll put a villain down, and we'll put a hero on top. Is that fair?
Yeah.
You can see I did it very, very slowly.
Yeah.
Very, very slowly. Here a villain, here a villain, here a villain, here a villain. But they don't like standing around with each other. You put them in an escape room, one of the lot are going to escape straight away by kicking the door down. Because heroes and villains do not like to be together. They just don't. It's a thing. So I'll tell you what, we'll do it one more time. And if you were here, Michael, in front of the camera, I'd give you either the heroes or the villains. Which would you prefer?
The villains.
The villains. Okay, the villains. That's those. So what would happen is I would take the heroes, you would take the villains, and I would have you put a villain on my hand, and I would put a hero on top. I would then have you put a villain on my hand, and I would put a hero on top. I would have you put a villain on my hand, I would put a hero on top. I'd have you put a villain on my hand, I would put a hero on top. I would do nothing, I would give you the card straight away. And I would tell you that they do not like being in the same room together, which is why, even though I've done nothing, they will separate, because the heroes and the villain, they don't like hanging out. They just don't, right? But here's the thing. It's not just these. It's everybody else in the deck. Here's the thing. Do you remember I shuffled these cards together? We shuffled them at the very beginning.
Yeah.
All the heroes, all the villains. This is the thing. These cards don't like being together. It's an interesting thing about this deck of cards. It's a card game, and you shuffle them and you play cards, and that's all great. But here's the thing. You've got 26 heroes in this deck, you've got 26 villains. They do not like to be in the same pack at the same time. So here's what happens. If you leave it for a little while, they'll separate, because if they don't, they'll kill each other. It'll be a cardboard massacre. Which is why, if you look, you can see that all of the heroes and all of the villains have separated. And that, my friend, is why heroes and villains will never get on. Well, we're talking about cards separating and having red cards and blue cards separate. The other thing that we really should talk about is Out of This World. Now, on the Heroes and Villains project, which is about 3.5, 4 hours, by the way, I've got a ton of different ways of doing Out of This World. I'll show you a simple one right now. I'll show you a simple Out of This World. But because, again, you're talking about heroes and villains, and you're talking about, good and evil, and because the colours pop so well, this really takes Out of This World and takes it to an entire other level. And you see a lot of the reactions on the tutorial, because there's live performances of everything. You see a lot of the reactions of people watching this just kind of really freaking out. This is great. If you do an Out of This World, this is one of the strongest ways to do it. Let's have a look at that. So, Michael, this is a Heroes and Villains deck. It's my son Ryland got this. He's really into this sort of thing. And basically, it's a deck of cards, and it's divided into, there's 52 cards, 26 heroes and 26 villains. And what's interesting, well, listen, unleash your knowledge and challenge your friends in an epic showdown of heroes and villains. Dive into a world where powers collide and legends are born. With hundreds of mind-blowing trivia facts, test your mastery of comic book lore, cinematic adventures, and literary sagas. Will you rise as the ultimate hero, armed with facts and insights, or embrace the cunning ways of the villain? It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And what I love about this deck is the artwork is amazing. Now, most of these characters you'll recognise. Some of them you might not. Like Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah. What's interesting is each one has an arch nemesis. So Little Red Riding Hood, her nemesis is the big bad wolf, obviously. Here, Ebenezer Scrooge, he's got the three ghosts. King Arthur, Mordred. You know King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table. I'm going to shuffle these cards. If you were here with me in front of the camera, I would allow you to shuffle. You're not, so I'll do it for you. But as I do shuffle, I want to ask you a question. How is your moral compass, Michael? Does it always point north? Are you a hero or you're a villain?
Probably a villain.
Probably a villain.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, look, I want you to see these are all mixed up. We're going to test to see if you can tell good versus evil. Okay. From a shuffle pack, I'm going to take out a hero card and a villain card. Well, that's the ultimate villain right there. I'll tell you that much. Not exactly the ultimate hero. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Right, brilliant. Okay, so I've taken out a villain, the Evil Queen. I think you would agree.
Yeah.
That she is very evil. When your name literally has the word evil in it, you're evil. You got no choice. She's not going to grow up and be a good guy. It ain't going to happen. And then Tarzan. You should remember Tarzan as a kid? Did you know who the arch nemesis of Tarzan is?
Wouldn't be able to name them.
Yeah, it's actually William Clayton. who's Tarzan's cousin. There you go. You learn something every day. Hero and villain. I'm going to take out, we're not going to use the whole deck. It'll take forever. Let's just use half the cards. We'll take 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. We won't use the rest of the cards. We'll put them aside. So we have half the deck here. That's perfect. So if you were here, you would do this yourself. So you're not here, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the cards one at a time, and you're going to say hero or villain.
Okay.
If you say hero, I'm going to put it here under the hero. If you say villain, I'm going to put it under the villain. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay? And it's up to you which way you go. It's totally up to you. But at some point in the middle, you're going to feel the urge to stop. At any point, just say stop. Okay? It'll be somewhere in the middle. You'll know when that is. But until then, you just say hero, villain, and I'll put it wherever you want.
Villain.
Villain, okay.
Villain.
Okay.
Hero.
Interesting.
Hero. Villain. Hero.
Oh, sorry.
I think we'll stop there. What do you want more?
Well, yeah, I mean, I said about halfway.
Yeah, I didn't know. Hero.
Okay.
Villain. Villain.
Okay.
Hero. Hero. Villain.
Interesting. You did great.
Hero. Villain. Stop.
You want to stop right now?
Yeah.
Still quite a lot left. Okay, here's what we'll do. You stopped right there. What we'll do now, mentally, in your head, change the positions of these cards. So up until now, you've been saying all of these are villains and all these are heroes.
Yeah.
For the rest of the cards, I want you to deal, if you think it's a hero, deal it here. If you think it's a villain, deal it here. And
Okay.
really try and get a good vibe or an evil vibe. We're testing to see your moral compass points north or not, okay?
Yeah.
So
hero's now on the left.
yeah, so we're putting hero there. You
Yeah,
think it's a hero?
It's a hero. I'm feeling villain from this.
Okay,
It's another villain there.
okay,
It's a hero.
okay.
That's a villain.
It's a villain.
That one's a hero.
Okay,
With a hero next to it.
okay, interesting.
And a villain.
Villain.
A hero.
A hero.
It's the villain.
It's a villain.
Yeah. And then a villain.
Another villain.
And the last one. It's probably a hero.
It's a hero. How do you think you did?
No clue.
No clue at all. Okay, at least you're honest. Do you know how many you dealt in each pile? I'll just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We used 26 cards, Michael. You put 13 in each pile. Was that coinky dink? I don't know. I asked you to see if you could gauge good versus evil. It's interesting that you put exactly 13 cards in each pile. What's even more interesting is I actually started asking you to deal heroes over here. And you did. Pat Garrett is a hero. And you started dealing heroes. All the way through, you dealt a hero. And then what happened is at some point, you decided to stop. And then you dealt villains all the way through to the very, very end. And over here, Michael, you dealt villains. And you carried on dealing villains. And you dealt all the villains, and then at some point, you said, no, I'm going to switch. From that point, you dealt heroes through to the very, very end. And I don't know whether you identify as a hero or a villain, Michael, but I think it's very obvious from this that you're incredible at knowing good versus evil. I have no idea how you did. So, as you can see, that's a great way to use this deck. Look, the bottom line is, out of every deck that I've done, I think that they've got better every single time. I think that Evoke was great and it was groundbreaking because of the marking system. But I think each one has got better. And I think the reason I love this one, and like I said at the beginning, every single one has to have its own thing. The thing that this has got is, first of all, it's marked, brilliant. You can do some really cool mind reading, brilliant. But this is the deck that I've bought out that, in my mind, replicates a regular deck. So anything that you do with a regular deck, you can do with this, and you can make it way more relatable. And honestly, if you've got this, go out and try that. Give them the cards and say, look, I want you to go through and I want you to find a card that you feel you can relate to, but don't show anyone else. Keep it to yourself, right? Is that a card that you feel you can relate to? Great, put it there. I know immediately it's Robin Hood. Excellent. Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to work out whether you're a hero or a villain. What do you identify as? Think of the color, red or blue. It really kind of allows you, you know, if you're a cold reader, it really allows you to kind of really get into that kind of cold reading thing, and really allows you to get way more hits than you would do with a normal deck of cards. And the fact that you've got the marking system built into it, the fact that you've got a ton of routines, you've got your envelopes with your cards in there, you've got your shuffleboard cards in here, you've got absolutely everything. I'm really proud of this. I think it's just under a 4-hour tutorial or something like that. And I cover so many different things. But I'll tell you right now, this is always in my gig bag. This is always with me. And the reason it's always with me is because I absolutely love this deck. So I think I've covered everything. I've covered all of the routines, or not all of them. I mean, I've barely scratched the surface, but Michael looks like he's getting pissed off at this point. So I'm not going to do any more routines. I'm going to give him a break. But, you know, I've covered a few of the routines on there. I've covered how the marking system works. It's the optical marking system for the DMCs and the Elysian duets. I've covered how the mother of all book tests works. And I've covered the fact that, you know, that's all marked on the book. The marking system covers the hero, the villain, and the next person in line. I've covered the fact that you can do stay stack with this. You can have stacks like shuffleboard and everything set up with this, or you can use it as just a shuffle deck of cards. I think I've covered most of what this is. The bottom line is, this is a beautifully designed deck of cards. And immediately, this is the only deck that I've ever bought out where people just look at it and you just give it them a look at it and they go, oh, wow, that's nice. It really just looks good, doesn't it, Michael? I mean, It really, honestly, Phil is a genius. He's knocked it out of the park. So I'm happy. Look, I know a lot of people have picked this up already, and if you have, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you haven't picked this up and you have any questions about this product, please let me know down below and I'll try and answer them for you, or put them into the Q&A on a Sunday. I'll answer them live on the Q&A. But yeah, this is the Heroes and Villains deck. It's something that at one point I didn't think this was going to come out. I had to jump through more hoops with this deck than anything else. I'll tell you, quick story before I finish, because Michael's ready to punch me. Quick story before I finish. Originally, the Heroes and Villains deck looked very different, because I had stuff on there like Mario and Bowser, Superman and Lex Luthor, Doc Ock and Spider-Man. I had Biff Tannen and Marty McFly. And there were a few copyright issues that Penguin were a bit apprehensive about, as I could understand. Should have gone with TCC. No, they don't care. But I was like, okay, I understand that. So I went back to the drawing board. I literally rewrote the deck and redid it from scratch. But all of the characters in here are royalty free. They're copyright free, which is great. But they're all really recognizable as well. And that's what I wanted to have. I wanted to have a real eclectic range. So there's characters from Disney films, but there's also characters from history, American history, British history. There's characters from books. There's characters from nursery rhymes. There's something for everybody in this deck, and it's why I love it so much. So you can get it from Penguin Magic. It's available now. I personally promise you that you'll have a great time with this. Outside of that, thank you so much for joining me. Now, make sure on Saturday you check out Magic TV, because we've got a great interview. Who we got coming up this Saturday?
Alex from Monster Magic.
Alex from Monster Magic. Oh, great. Well, Alex Kirk is getting interviewed on Saturday. I was really disappointed when I interviewed him. I thought he was going to be in his dressing gown, and he wasn't, so I was really disappointed. And then on Sunday, as well as the Q&A, we've got the Notion in Motion review show special as well. A lot of people are asking us to review that. We're reviewing that on Sunday. So check out all of that. But don't forget, support Penguin Magic. Go to go to penguinmagic.com, and you can go pick up the Heroes and Villain decks now. Whether you've got it or you haven't, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.